beginning of the show, we really hope you will enjoy today's show. It's a holiday edition, and this is New Day on TV3. We've been joined by officials from Solidaridad for a very important discussion. So I would ask that you pick up your notebooks and then your pens, and then you pay attention as we go on with the discussion this morning. So to my extreme right, I have Isaac Jemfi. He's the Regional Director, Solidaridad, West Africa. Welcome.
Thank you.
And then Susan Hemina Yemidi, Country Rep for Ghana. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let's go straight into the discussion. Solidaridad, what is it? What is it all about? What do you do?
Thank you, John.
Right.
Solidaridad is an international development organization. We operating on 5 continents in the world. Currently, we have activities in 52 countries. And our focus is to support the development of sustainable supply chains. There are several supply chains that in the world's economy feeds into various production pipelines. And we work with the private sector companies to make sure that we develop a very resilient supply chain, saying that all the stakeholders across the supply chain see business, they see benefits, they see profitability in whatever they are engaged in. And we're working on in total about 13 supply chains, and 6 of them is in West Africa. Specifically in West Africa, we're working on cocoa, oil palm, maize systems, cotton, soy, and gold supply chains.
I see. Interesting. We'll come back to talk more about the cocoa sector, but what is the MASO project? What is it all about?
MASO is a program that is funded by MasterCard Foundation in Canada, and it is actually focusing on the youth. John, in Ghana, our youth population is about 20% of the entire population,
Right.
and unemployment is also about 47% within amongst the youth.
Right.
MASO seeks to use cocoa sector as a mechanism for empowering the youth.
Right.
So the program is focusing on youth empowerment using the cocoa sector for that.
Wow.
And as a sidebar,
Yeah.
to empower means to create livelihood opportunities for the youth.
Right.
We believe that the youth can make a living out of cocoa, and that's what MASO seeks to do.
Wow. Interesting. Now let's talk more about the cocoa sector. As it stands now, what is the state of the cocoa sector, and how is it employing our people here in Ghana?
Well, the cocoa sector for Ghana is a very critical sub-economy. We are not unaware of the relative contribution of cocoa to our GDP. It stands around 3%, and cocoa also contributes about 20% of a total export merchandise. And if you take total agricultural foreign exchange earnings, cocoa does over 70%. So that already tells you the critical importance. An economy that is employing about 1 million of our population. And the challenges there is what has led to the development of MASO. For instance, out of the 1 million population in the cocoa industry, 60% of them is estimated to average 50 years of age. So if you have such a critical sector of the economy with its labor force averaging 50 years of age, then you have to really sit up and see how do you get the youth to be interested in this industry? How do you prove the business case, the profitability of the industry to attract the youth to go in? And that's what MASO seeks to do, for which we are here this morning.
Great. It's a good way of introducing MASO into the discussion. So what are the critical challenges that MASO will seek to address?
One of the critical challenges is looking at employment among the youth. Here we are targeting youth aged 15 to 24. But for this particular program, we are looking at 17 to 24.
Okay.
And we are seeking to empower, to train them so that either you become a cocoa farmer or you get a business along the value chain. So we are going to try to support the cocoa production and also try to use it as a medium of employment also for the youth. And as Isaac indicated also, we have an aging farmer population. So we are trying to secure the future also of cocoa production using MASO.
And to add to what Susan just said, if you look at the education statistics, in most of our rural communities, after the children write the BEC exam, it's estimated that there's about 50% dropout. those who are unable to continue to secondary school and
Right.
probably take it further to the tertiary institutions. And these young people in the communities, they need to survive. They need to find a livelihood. And we are not unaware of how they take to drugs and all kinds of social menace. So MASO seeks to say, look guys, you can make a business, a livelihood out of the cocoa sector. And we're going to show you how best you can do it. And we have a very unique proposition, which I know Susan will discuss, in terms of what are the elements that brings in to make the youth see the business opportunities in the cocoa sector, so that we can keep this important industry running.
Right. And you know, Ghana is not new to cocoa. We've always known cocoa, and there's been a number of programs that various organizations, probably government interventions along, making sure the cocoa industry is robust and all that. What makes MASO unique?
John, what makes MASO unique is the approach we are using. Pretty much we are going to provide training for the target group we are working with, not only in good agricultural practices, but we're also going to support them with entrepreneurial development. And then also on top of that, to train them on life skills, because the focus is on the youth and they need to be supported to be confident, to develop social skills. So we are looking at giving them the technical skills to become either a cocoa farmer or the entrepreneurial skills alongside the technical skills, but also the confidence to be able to say that the decision I have taken to be a cocoa farmer, to be a businessman in the value chain is good, to boost their confidence, to be able to engage in life. So those are the unique things that we're doing. On top of that also, we are also working with other partners to provide them with enabling support. For instance, we are trying to develop products that will help them to access finance, work with traditional leaders to support them with access to land. So these are the things that we're going to hold their hands for the period that we are with, to ensure that we work end to end, to ensure that they are able to really engage in the business that they've come together with us to work on.
I see. So
Maybe it's an opportunity to mention the specific partnerships that gives us our unique proposition.
Right.
We have Ashesi University as part of this consortium, and Ashesi University is coming in. They have developed a program to develop the entrepreneurial skills of young people, and we're working with them to adapt their curriculum to address the needs of these rural youth target group that we're looking at. We also have another NGO called Aflatoon. They are also very experienced in developing curriculum on life skills, social skills, so they are also part of the consortium. We have Fidelity Bank addressing financial inclusion and access to finance. Because by and large, if you train the youth in best crop management practices and you don't have the capital to go into a venture, they will not be able to do that. So we're partnering with Fidelity Bank to address that component. And we're also working with traditional rulers, as she said. Land is a very critical resource.
Yeah.
If you train people and they don't have access to land, so we're working with communities, the leadership of those communities, with families. And then we have Ghana Cocoa Board Extension Unit, what is called CHED, Cocoa Health and Extension Division. Currently, Cocoa Board is implementing a public-private extension partnership. And we're working with CHED to roll out the training that we've mentioned. So it's a consortium of partners. And for us, that's where our unique proposition lies. The fact that we are addressing all the different elements and creating that enabling context for the youth to capitalize on the innovations that we would bring to them is quite a unique thing that we're doing in MASO.
Wow, interesting. So in just trying to wrap up, Susan, can you tell us which part of Ghana are you focusing on with this particular MASO program?
We are in the Ashanti region, mainly the cocoa growing areas. We are in Ashanti region, we are in Brown Half region, Central region, Western region, and also in the Volta region.
Okay. And Isaac, just so that we know, who really qualifies to be part of this program?
Well, as Susan said, we're looking at the youth. Of course, we are not unaware of other overarching government policy in terms of what age children leave school. So we are cognizant of that and making sure we are addressing the right target group. So any youth in the communities that will be operating, we've selected about 15 administrative districts for a start. Once we are doing well, we'll scale up to other areas. And I think that's what we want to do. Every youth who is out of school and want to engage with us. As Susan said, we are ready to work with those groups of people.
And then finally, Susan, tell us about the details of the launch. What's the plan? When and where is it happening and all that?
Thank you. The launch is going to be held on 30th September.
Okay.
It is going to be held in New Edibiashe at the Methodist Church compound.
Okay.
And what we are going to do is that we are going to have all our partners there and a core representative of the youth group, about 400 young people. We are working with the traditional authorities, and we are going to launch the program. We've done all the groundwork, and we want to launch the program and showcase it. And we are going to have the Dutch ambassador, the Dutch embassy. We are having Cocoa Board also coming with us, and our consortium partners. And we use this opportunity to invite the general public to come there and support us next week, Friday. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we really wish you well, and we hope you come back to tell us the success story of the MASO program.
Thank you.
All right. So you've been listening to Isaac Jemfi, who's the regional director for Solidarity West Africa, and Susan Hemina Yemidi, who's a country rep for Ghana. Thank you very much for your time.